Hello, it's episode 2 of Mind on Music. For this episode, I spoke with Tomi Robynne. During the course of our chats, Tomi shared a new and unreleased tune of his, so that's exciting, alongside songs from other artists that felt significant to him, including a Madonna song and a Ray tune. So stay tuned to find out the reasoning behind that. Again, some themes of poor mental health that could be upsetting, so just be aware of. But without further ado, here's episode 2. So hello, welcome to episode 2 of Mind on Music, the series in which I hope to explore the relationship between the arts and mental health. I'm Theo, I'm a musician and a mental health worker, and I'm joined today by Tomi Robynne. Tell us about who you are and what your music is, what you do.
So I'm 24 and I've been music-wise writing, producing and recording my music for years. I started doing Logic when I was 13, released my first EP when I was 13.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Does it exist?
No, absolutely not. No. I've released quite a few. I released an album when I was 15. But
Really?
Mm-hmm,
What did you do with these things?
I put them on streaming and stuff.
On Spotify?
Yeah.
Oh. Are you taking them down, or are they just...
Yeah, I've taken them down. They're not good, no.
Yeah.
Not something I want to be associated with.
There are lots of CDs that I made when I was a kid that my friends from home still have copies of that I'm very embarrassed about.
I'm currently trying to finish an album at the moment, which I'm hoping to release at the end of this year.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping at the moment. I keep pushing it back. It was supposed to come out in January and then I wanted more time, and then I kept writing songs that I wanted to put on it. Started as an EP, now I'm just going to do an album. The new stuff is very dance pop. Not very cool. I know people don't find pop music.
Not very cool.
Well, people don't find pop music cool nowadays. It has to be neo soul or jazzy or
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? When I was at uni and people were what kind of music do you like? I'm I just like chart pop, you know.
Yeah, but maybe uncool is cool. So no.
Thank you. Yeah, take it.
That's always how it goes, isn't it? You know, you got to go against the grain.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, something I know about you is that you write a lot of songs, don't you?
Yeah, I write every day.
You write every day.
Yeah.
Which is something I wish I could do. I mean, you know, I'm pretty kind of a constipated writer, really. I write maybe once a month if
really?
if I'm lucky to finish a song. I have lots of ideas, but I never finish them.
Mm-hmm.
But you seem to be quite disciplined.
When I was younger, I didn't really have many friends. I wasn't doing a lot, so I just had a lot of spare time. Played piano, and for years, and started writing and playing with Logic when I got it when I was 13, and I just had so much spare time, and that's all I did. I was never interested in really gaming or TV massively, so I just did music, and then I just kept up with that, and I built this kind of thing where every time I just write about my life. And life, obviously just loads of stuff happens in life, so there's always something to write about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. As for this album then, how many did you write for it? I mean,
over 150.
150?
Yeah.
I don't even know if I could write 150 songs in a lifetime.
On my Logic hard drive, I have over 300 songs.
Really?
It's from when I got my new computer 2 years ago. So.
And would you say they're all good? I mean,
no, oh god, no. You have to write bad stuff to get to the good. They're all finished, but then, you know, there's probably going to be 12 to 15 songs on this album, and then all the other ones that I've written will never see the light of day.
Really?
Ever.
Yeah. Because I think with me, I struggle to finish something if I don't think it's going to be... I'm a bit of a perfectionist that way. If I don't think it's going to be the best thing I've done yet, I just don't have the motivation to finish it, so it just doesn't happen.
I just do it because I find it fun as well. I have only produced for other people a few times, but that's been released. But for the last few years, I've been asking friends to just send me stuff so I can have fun with it. Not to ever put it anywhere, but just to have fun with it. So I guess I just do that for myself as well. So
it's good that you've still got some of the joy of music.
Yeah, I love it.
That music's cool didn't crush that out of you.
Obviously, there's part of it in music where you feel you compare and I'm not saying there are definitely days where I'm just I'm not good at this. I can't. I'm not. You know, you have doubt, but I think it's always the enjoyment of it that beats that feeling.
Yeah.
More. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you play live, because you're a solo artist, aren't you, really? But then when you play live, there's two of you.
Yeah, there's two of us, which has changed because I did have a full band once. But at that time, I was still I knew that I wanted to do pop, but I thought that it wasn't very cool, so I tried to make stuff that I thought was cool. and I hated it.
What kind of vibe?
Just like neo soul influenced.
Yeah.
Just like anything other than what you would hear on like Capital, which is actually the stuff I like to write.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do that now. I've now found that confidence to do that. So
Interesting setup though, isn't it? I mean, you have a drummer.
I do.
You have a drummer, and then just you kind of singing.
And then track,
with track, yeah.
I also then just like, whenever I do a gig, the only thing that the guys on the desk actually monitor is the drum and then my volume. Everything else is I've done in my project, so it's like all automated on my mic, like reverb, everything, so that I know it sounds the same everywhere.
Wow.
Also because I'm such a massive control freak. This idea of like not having it how I want is kind of scary to me, so I have to control as much as I can.
Why is that, do you think? I mean, because you're kind of exposing a bit of yourself or putting yourself out there?
I think as well, like a lot of the stuff I write about is really personal, and I want it to, I feel like it's always really naff when someone's got a really good song and then when it's performed live it doesn't hit the same as the recording. I've gone to a few gigs over the years where I was so excited to go and then was a bit let down, so I feel like I worry that if I don't have control over it, it won't sound how I want, and therefore I'll get off stage and be like, oh, that was rubbish. So I like the control, really. I'm very self-critical of my voice, so like if I come off and I sound a bit pitchy or I've had a few duff notes or whatnot, I do hyperfixate on that.
Well, let's talk a little bit then about how you first got into music.
Well, the main reason I got into it was because I did some professional like acting when I was younger. I was going to theatre and musicals and stuff. I mean, like, my parents sent me to play rugby and football and stuff, all stuff that my older brother loved, and I absolutely hated it. So then they were like, oh, maybe we should go and see if he likes dancing. So they sent me to dance when I was 7. And then I started piano lessons when I was 7. And then I took to that and loved it. And then I started writing.
A bit of a kind of Renaissance man then, really. It was kind of doing lots of arts. I mean,
yeah. Like, I didn't find pleasure in anything else, really. Also, I'm not very academic in any way, so I struggled through school, like highly dyslexic, dyspraxic, all that stuff. So I'm not academic in the slightest.
Yeah, so it felt like, you know, you were able to excel more in the creative areas then.
Yeah. And I was a show-off when I was younger. I was a loud, annoying show-off, just constantly doing shows for my parents in my, living room, wearing a towel as a wig, all this stuff, an apron is like a dress, like I was all over the place.
Even up until a fairly late point for me, I think I still would kind of have these very serious occasions where I'd gather my family in a room as a teenager and sit down with the guitar and be like, I'm going to present this song to you.
When I was really young, my parents got me this like really cheap microphone with a little amp, and that was probably the biggest regret they ever had, because I just didn't shut up.
But you say you started writing at 11 or 12. Why? What drove you to do that?
I don't really know actually why I, like, the reason I did it. I think it was just like I had done this acting stuff in musicals and I really loved that.
I wonder what you were writing about then. I mean, what was on your mind as an 11-year-old?
I have this really funny story. I won't reveal the artist because it's a bit peak, but I had this album that I listened to, very pop person, that was really, really young. And I remember listening to this album going, oh, the songs get worse as the album goes on, so maybe that's how you have to write an album. So I wrote this mini album when I was really young, thinking like, and I put a lot of effort into the beginning songs and not so much effort into the last one, because I thought that was what an album had to be. That was one of my earliest memories.
I definitely had that feeling when I remember listening to albums and thinking, once you get past the first 4, I would just skip the rest. They're just crap, aren't they? I always remember thinking that. It does always seem to be structured in that way, doesn't it? Was there a time when it kind of, the reason behind it changed for you, that you're using it in a different way? Because sometimes it's more of a hobby and then it becomes more emotional support. It
became my way to just deal with life. Like, I would just write songs about everything.
And privately, or would you share them with people? Or?
I would only share the ones that I released. Now I'm better at writing a song that's a bit more vague in its lyrical content, but when I was younger I was writing like things that if you were to play them to people, they'd be like, this is a bit harsh, like in the language, right? And the explicitness of it. I think just like when stuff got hard when I was younger, I just had to have an outlet, and that was the first thing. I loved playing piano, and Like my piano teacher was amazing, and she trained me classically, but we had this thing where she would give me all my classical homework, which I just wouldn't do, and I would just be like, I didn't learn any of that, but I wrote 5 songs this week, and she would have to toy the line of being like disciplined and be like, no, you need to do your scales, you need to do your sight reading and your grades and whatnot, and when I just wanted to write songs.
We've been doing a thing obviously where we share songs from those early days that had felt significant or had some kind of meaning behind them from earlier times. What were you thinking for that?
So I was toying between 2 different albums. One is like an album that my parents put on all the time, and we used to go, like when we were younger, like we went on holidays, like, you know, staycations in like Scotland and places like that, and we used to drive there, and they used to put this album on the whole time by Jack Johnson. Absolutely love that album. It's not even the kind of music that I listen to now, but it's just very nostalgic. But then the other one I was thinking of was like my first pop album that I was exposed to, that I was like, I love this, was a Madonna album that came out in like 2006.
There you go.
Which I loved, so it would be one of those.
Yeah, that was Hung Up.
Yeah.
Madonna. Why that song? What?
I would have said Taylor Swift, right, but I feel like I think that's what everyone would expect me to do, so I wasn't going to pick that, right? But I think for Madonna, like, it was the first time that I listened to that bubblegummy pop and was like, oh, I absolutely love this, because my parents didn't really listen to bubblegum pop, you know, they didn't actually, they just didn't. When I grew up, so I wasn't really exposed to it until I found it myself, and then I found it and then I couldn't stop.
Yeah. So a bit of your own identity.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was a classic one, isn't it? I think really that you want to hang on to something that is just different, especially from your family, or something that kind of defines you a little bit more.
Yeah.
So obviously, I had a huge reggae obsession.
Oh, I know.
From a young age. So that was the big thing for me, just because that was kind of I claimed that as my own. You know, that's kind of what happens.
Yeah, I'm not a very good talker. Never have been a good talker. So I would there was some times where I would write a song, produce it, and show my parents, or to be
Really?
yeah, because I'm so bad at talking.
Oh.
So music.
And how did they react to that? Did they?
Oh, they were not. Well, obviously they were like, "This is great," you know. He's got an outlet, but you know, it is definitely frustrating to have, you know, someone so close to you not good at talking. I'm sure that made them very annoyed. But you know, music really helped to do that. It's like gave me a voice that I didn't feel I had in my everyday kind of life, really.
So do you think that did your writing become more subtle, or did you just like have certain songs that you just didn't share with people? Or?
Yeah, it was more just like I had songs that I wrote for me, and then I had songs that I wrote to put out. So I'd have a song that I would put out that would always have been the first version, which was explicit, raw, and then I kept that for myself, put it in the bank, the hard drive, and then changed the lyrics to have the same meaning but not as, you know, allow people to listen and put their own lives on the story.
Okay, there's kind of a double life to your songs, really. Is that?
I had a lot of time.
Yeah, you had a lot of time.
I had a lot of time and no friends. So yeah.
And it's interesting though, isn't it, about having songs for yourself and songs for other people? Because I don't know if I'd even feel comfortable, you know, just me hearing some of the direct things, because you know, I'd feel really self-conscious about it. But I could see how it could be really kind of therapeutic almost. Some safety in knowing that other people aren't going to hear it.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. I still do that. I still write songs just for me.
Yeah, it's a bit like having a diary, I suppose, isn't it, or something?
Yeah.
Like having a journal.
Yeah.
And we're coming on to a second song now, a song that you've written that kind of felt significant. You want to tell us about that? Yeah,
so it's an unreleased song. It will be on that album.
Exclusive,
just for you. So this like song is about a particular like life event of mine growing up that was like very formative experience that I always knew I wanted to write about, but I never had the like strength to do so because it was still quite a painful thing. And then it was only last year where I was like, right, I think I'm ready to, you know, write about this now. And since writing it, it's just really helped to kind of put that time into perspective and explore it, because I didn't allow myself to explore it. So not even in music, like, which is what I would usually do. It was just always that one thing that I would I knew it was on the shelf and I would take it out. And then I wrote it, and I think I've tried to write it before. It was always rubbish. Yeah.
And do you want to speak about that experience, or is it going to remain a kind of anonymous?
I'll say, it was formative and it was traumatic. But it like made me a very much stronger person. It was like a really hard time for not myself as well, just like my family. The song itself is pretty you kind of get a gist of what it's about really from the song. But,
okay. And do you think trauma has had a kind of significant impact on your music? Do you think your music changes after going through certain experiences?
Yeah, I mean, it shapes what I write about. It's also shaped just my identity as an artist as well. Like, the reason I changed my name, like, because I used to my actual name is really boring. But my artist name, the main reason I changed it was because I wanted I always felt when I was on stage, I could just like be a different person. And I wanted to replicate that in every way. So I'm quite, like, in real life, I'm quite just like kind of reserved, and I kind of like to sit back and just observe. Whereas when I'm on stage and I'm like Tomi Robynne, I like to be what I was when I was younger, before all of my inhibitions were taken away from me.
But that's still a part of you, though, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
I always find it interesting when people say in real life, because like everything is in real life, isn't it? Really, it's just different versions of you, I suppose.
I just feel so disconnected from that.
Yeah.
I watch videos of myself when I was younger, and I just don't feel like that's me, kind of thing.
Yeah. Can we hear that song then?
It's called Bathroom Floor.
Bathroom Floor. Okay.
There's not much I remember, but I know that it was September the 18th. I could have done it on a previous day, but I'd have missed Amy's birthday, and I couldn't leave that with her. I to nurture. I turned our home into something we all hated. It was the climax of so many stages. People say that it's selfish to leave, but I thought it would make me free. From all the things that they did to me, it didn't help when I made myself bleed. And I'm sorry for acting like I did before. And I'm sorry you found me on the bathroom floor. The bathroom floor. And I felt useless and stupid. It's so much harder to unwrite what you wrote in. I still feel them all over my skin. They should have left me alone to grow, not attacking me on Sutherland Grove. That was a life-changing moment. People say that it's selfish to leave, but I thought it would make me free. From all the things that they did to me, it didn't help when I made myself bleed. And I'm sorry for acting like I did before. And I'm sorry you found me on the bathroom floor. The bathroom floor.
It's very powerful.
Thanks.
How does it feel hearing it?
It's weird, but yeah, I'm very proud of it. It's definitely a different sound for me. Like, it's not very
Yeah.
radio poppy, but like I say, it had to be written at some point, and I'm happy with how it has come to be. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, it's really great. You're very kind of open and honest in the lyrics, aren't you? I mean, it's quite, there's not much hidden there in kind of metaphors necessarily, isn't it? It's
No.
quite direct.
Yeah.
So maybe you're kind of sensing a bit of that old strategy of having two versions of it. It's something that maybe you wouldn't want to talk about, but you're happy to kind of sing about and
I
show to
think-
people instead.
Yeah, I think it's like, I know that at some point in my life I want to share stuff, just for me personally, that I'm ready and that the people who were there at the time are ready as well.
I mean, how do you feel about that? The idea of people that listening to it and thinking, oh, Tommy must have gone through X, Y, Z. I didn't know that. I mean, how does that make you feel?
I think there's definitely things, if you dig around far enough, which I wouldn't advise you to do, but there are things like I ran a marathon in 2019 for Mind, the UK mental health charity, and that page I was quite honest about the reasonings for doing that, and there's definitely been periods where things have been shared, whether it's been me who's shared them or other people is the difference, right? So there's definitely knowledge that people have, but in terms of my truth, that's yet to be revealed.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, when you were talking earlier about how, the way you express yourself as a young person and how maybe many of those kind of coping mechanisms are still in place today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting. But I really like the song as well. And something I noticed as well is the use of names. That's something I always think about in songs. Do you use people's real names or do you use fake names?
So that was a real name, and it was my cousin Amy, who I love to pieces, and she just had a baby, by the way.
Oh,
which is really
congrats.
exciting. Yeah.
Big ups.
Beautiful girl. Anyway, and I did send the song to her, and I said, I've got another line that I can replace this with, because obviously it was a big thing for her at the time as well, so I wanted to ask her, and she obviously gave me her blessing and said that she's happy with her name being in it.
Yeah,
so.
what could you made it like Hamish or something. Did you
I was
ever
just gonna say a completely different thing.
Oh yeah.
I had another version.
Yeah. No, I mean I've done that. I mean, much less personal, really. I think just writing more like observations about people or just stories about people in songs. I always change the name.
I've never put a name in a song before.
Yeah.
Not that I've released anyway. I've definitely written songs with people's names in it, but this is the first one that I would have released with someone's name. But yeah, I did ask for her.
Yeah.
Consent
No, it just
for
stands
that,
out that way, doesn't it? A song I always notice that in songs, and I'm always like, I wonder what those people think if they are real. So it's that album. Then do you think that whole album is going to be on a kind of similar theme of quite expressive, or is it?
It is quite expressive, like, but I think the production of it, I kind of like to have that thing where it's giving the production where you can just put it on in the car, but at the same time, if someone is paying close enough attention to the lyrics, they can see that it's more than just a pop song. So
there's two sides to it. I'm getting a big kind of two sides kind of theme in a way, almost of having kind of multiple layers to the things that you do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it sounds like, there is the music for Tomi and music for the audience, really. Those things quite separate sometimes. You think,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. I thought it would be nice just to take a moment to think about what it's like being a musician or an artist. Mm-hmm. I wonder if you had any thoughts about what some of the challenges are about being in the arts.
When you have like big dreams that with being in the arts, whether that's music, drama, like anything, they're really exciting, but it's also really painful because like not many people get that big lucky break. I'm not really sure why. I just feel like being creative is a very emotive thing. You have to get your inspiration from somewhere, and you have to have an imagination to be able to do that. And more like someone wants to be, I really want to be a banker, or like I really want to be a lawyer, and it's like, okay, cool, I'm going to go to school, I'm going to go to uni, I'm going to get a graduate job, and then I'm going to do that career. It's definitely a different trajectory to, I really want to sing, I love Taylor Swift, one day I want to sell out Wembley Stadium. Like it's a different it's a different thing, right?
So it kind of almost feels like you're failing a lot of the time. There's that
I think so.
That sense of rejection as well, maybe.
Yeah, and I also think like even just from the thing I was talking about, how like I didn't feel cool enough to do pop or like share my pop side. I can't imagine I'm the only person who worries about that, not just for that genre, but in general. Like I'm sure people have parts about their music that they're worried about people's opinions. So lots of people will say about pop that it's like, you use 4 chords for a whole song, like you're not a musician. So I just think it's a lot of the judgment within the actual community that I find is difficult sometimes. Yeah.
I often think that when you're doing art, you're putting a part of yourself forward, and you're tied very intimately into your work. So whereas with a normal job you might do your day, sometimes you have a good day, sometimes you have a shit day, but then you come home and you've got other things that you have in your life which are there for your enjoyment, and you relax and you kind of take yourself away from it. But with art, everything you do is kind of related to it, and whether how well it does or what your thoughts are on how other people are going to receive it reflect on how you feel about yourself, doesn't it? I mean, you can feel really awful about yourself personally if people kind of reject or don't like your art because it feels like it's a part of yourself. So it's very intimate, and you kind of leave yourself open to a lot of getting hurt potentially, don't you? You're quite vulnerable in that way.
Yes, true.
And coming on now to the final part about if there was someone else in your position, or perhaps someone with a kind of similar experiences to you growing up, what advice you might give them, if you felt you reflected back on other things you've been through?
First thing I'd say is like just talk to people. I never did that, still don't really. So, and then I would also just say like, and it's kind of cringe, but just like don't alter yourself for other people. Like I did like my whole life I just was such a people pleaser. Like if I was with one set of people, I'd change myself to fit that. I'd get into this circle, so I'd change myself for that. And I would say just try not to do that. It's really hard, but try not to do that.
Oh, that's good advice. And then a song then that you might want to pass on to people.
Okay, so this one is like by an artist called Ray, who's I'm sure everyone knows because she just
won a load of awards.
Just sweep the Brits, which is so well deserved. So this song is from the debut album. It's called Ice Cream Man, and it's like about her experiences with like assault and alcohol, drug abuse, things like that. And I just think it's like I did actually show this to my best friend when it first came out, and we listened to it together and were just like very tearful listening to it. I think she just captures perfectly what she wants to talk about.
So this producer hit me up on a DM. He told me, hey, I really like what you are doing. He told me, come round to the studio, let's cook it. He told me, come to catch a vibe and make some music. But when I got there, should've heard what he was saying. Trying to touch me, trying to fuck me, I'm not playing. I should've left that place as soon as I walked in it. How goddamn dare you do that to me, really? Coming like the ice cream man, till I felt his ice cold hands. And how I paid the price now, damn, goddamn, no, goddamn. Everything you did, it left me in a ruin. And no, I didn't say a word, I guess that proves it. I'm a woman, oh yes. 'Cause I'm a woman, I'm a very fucking brave, strong woman. And I'll be damned if I let a man ruin how I walk, how I talk, how I do it. Man, I've been broken for a moment, I've been through it. It's even harder to be brave alone. Was a girl, now I'm grown, I'm a woman. A very fucking strong woman. And I was 7, was 21, was 17, and was 11. It took a while to understand what my consent means. If I was ruthless, they'd be in the penitentiary. But all the stress of being honest wouldn't help me. I pushed it down, but it was living in me rent-free. And then I fell into some things that were unhealthy. A place where no one heard me, asking them to help me. Coming like the ice cream man, till I felt his ice cold hands. And how I paid the price now, damn, goddamn. Everything you did, it left me in a ruin. And no, I didn't say a word, I guess that proves it. I'm a woman. 'Cause I'm a woman, I'm a very fucking brave, strong woman. And I'll be damned if I let a man ruin how I walk, how I talk, how I do it. Man, I've been broken for a moment, I've been doing it. It's even harder to be brave alone. I was a girl, now I'm grown, I'm a woman. Very fucking strong woman. I wish I could say how I feel, how I felt, and explain why I'm silently blaming myself. 'Cause I put on these faces pretending I'm fine. Then I go to the bathroom and I press rewind in my head. Always going round and round in my head. Your fingerprints stuck a stain on my skin. You made me frame myself for your sin. You pathetic dead excuse of a man.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking today. You know, it's been really interesting, and I think, it's been really valuable actually learning a bit more about you and your music. Mm-hmm. And if people want to hear more, where can they find you?
Just anywhere where you stream or buy music. Yeah.
And tell us the name. Yeah, how do you spell it?
So it's Tomi, Tomi, and then Robynne is Robynne.
Yeah, the cool way.
The cool way.
The cool way. Yeah, absolutely. Well, there we go. It's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
It's a wrap. Yeah, wow, there you go. You did it.
Fun.